PRsonal podcast, the podcast where we get to meet the real person behind the professional. I'm delighted to be joined today by Norm Peterson. Norm is founder and CEO of Growth Capital Ventures and also founder and chairman of Homes by Carlton. Norm, how was your childhood different to that of your children?
Massive. So as a child, we started life in a very humble beginnings in Sunderland in a place called Hendon. So Hendon was very badly affected in the war, was bombed out. So my mum, Elsie, youngest of 14 children, we started life in a 2 up, 2 down terraced house. She rented the top 2 rooms.
14.
Yeah, she was the youngest of 14.
Oh, she was the youngest of 14, wow.
Youngest of 14.
Wow.
And so massive family, lots of cousins. And we started life in basically 2 rooms in a terrace house in Ethel Street, Sunderland. Me, mum and dad. And it was hard now. It didn't affect me at the time because that's all I knew. Mm-hmm. Just felt normal. But as you grow up and you start to see things as a young person growing, you think, I want to do something different. I want to do that. And mum and dad did better than themselves hugely. I mean, they were extremely successful. So that journey changed on the way. But that early start was very different. And the other things that stick out to me, I look at I've got two sons, Hugo and Luca. I look at their lives now. When they were little, we didn't have technology. The technology impacted on the young people in the last few years growing up, mm-hmm. Massive.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. For me, it was outside, running around, being out late. If I could, mother couldn't catch me, playing football, hanging out with the big lads, all the sort of things that I should have been doing, but all the sort of things where you learn fast because you're hanging out with the older kids. So very different to what we have, with my sons today. But it didn't affect me in any way. Mm-hmm. It's just something I look back on. It was a great progression. And my mum and dad were awesome in terms of instilling values, ethics, work ethic, everything else into us. So, learned a lot from that.
Brilliant. Do you think that's what made you so driven to achieve?
Yes, possibly. I don't know. There was just something inside me. I look back when I was young. I don't know why. But I used to always want to compete at things. Mm-hmm. I always had to try and get there first at the door or something. It was just the strange things that I look back on. And incidentally, both of the sons have the same thing. But it was just something that I didn't have to fight to bring it out. It was already inside.
Yeah.
I think the thing that helped me was my mother used to say, you're full of beans as a young lad. She'd go, you never keep still, you're full of beans, you never sleep and all of these things. And she bought me a football strip when I was 6. She bought me a Sunderland football strip and a pair of football boots. And those football boots in those days had the sort of hard cork studs and a big leather toe cap and a football. And I started playing football and it was just running around, shouting, kicking, battering people and everything else that got this energy out of me that give me a release, an outlet. Mm-hmm. And that's when I fell in love with football when I was about 6 or 7.
Amazing.
Sunderland football shirt on. Fantastic feeling.
Oh, and you can still remember it so clear.
I remember the day she brought it out, put them on. I remember going outside, just feeling epic. And
you were an amazing footballer, but unfortunately something happened before your career took off.
Yeah, I got really interested in football when we moved to Manchester when I was about 8 or 9. Manchester had an unbelievable atmosphere. This is in 1964. Manchester United had just won the FA Cup the year before. They had a star-studded team and a forward line, Charlton, Best and Law, and that just captured my imagination. And I fell in love with the game. And the last year at school was pretty amazing. We won everything. Little school, never won anything before. We won every trophy. Got selected for the Manchester district team. And it just, put that shirt on, that red shirt, that in this changing room that day, and it was like I could barely breathe with excitement. And I just decided then that I'm going to be a footballer. And I worked like hell, trained, skills on my own, juggling the ball, kicking the ball, heading the ball, relentless, But it wasn't hard. I didn't have to push myself to do it. And you read books these days that say, spend 1,000 hours training on stuff and you become proficient at it. I did it without needing to be told what to do. It was just wanted to do it. It was there. I loved it. I felt good when I played. I loved nothing more than getting on a pitch and getting stuck in. And it was just, it made me feel great. And so when one evening there was a knock on the door, it was a Wednesday night, 7:30. The reason I remember it so well is that Coronation Street theme tune was coming on.
Okay, yeah.
Knock on the door. It was 1972. And my dad says, no, it was this at this time at night. So the door opens and I heard my mother talking to somebody and she's coming in. And this guy came in, introduced himself as Harry Connell, Chief Scout for Derby County. He had a black top coat on, the trilby hat, looked really sort of distinguished. And said, look, I've been watching Norman play now for about 6 months. I've watched him play and he plays with such verve. I remember sitting there and I'm thinking, what the hell does verve mean? I said, I don't have a clue. And he said, he plays with gusto. And I said, all right, I know what that means. And he said, I've done a report which has gone down to Mr. Clough, and Mr. Clough would like to invite Norman down to Derby for trials. Would you like to do that, Norman? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. So I ended up down there, went down a couple of weeks later for a week, stayed in digs, and that first morning, Monday morning, sitting in the changing room just after 9, stripped with some training gear on, looking at a room full of international players. Derby were the league first division champions, which is equivalent to Liverpool today in the Premier League champions. Brian Clough was an amazing manager. And I was sitting in there looking around, and there's Colin Todd, who's just left Sunderland, who was the captain of Sunderland, is now playing at Derby, got transferred for a UK record, which today's money would be like 100 million. And you're sitting there and looking around all these people, and the door opens, and in comes Brian Clough, and you could just feel the presence. It was like, God, the gasp, yeah. And he come over and said, look, he welcomed, there was about 6 of us. He welcomed the people that were coming down, the trialists, and said, if you need any issues, speak to Colin Todd. He knew I was from Sunderland. He liked that fact. And it was just an amazing experience. Amazing experience. And I actually, when I come to leave school, and I eventually left school, I signed for Hull City.
Okay.
Who gave me a 2-year contract, 2-year professional contract. And Terry Neal, who was the player manager, just left Arsenal. He was a player manager for Northern Ireland. He signed me on a 2-year contract, which is where I went to. So, Hull City was the team. And I thought if they were in the second division, if I'm any good, I'll get in the first team quick. And if I'm good, I'll get spotted. And who knows, I might go up division or might stay there, who knows. So I was just really excited to get the chance to do something I love doing and get paid for doing it. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
Must have felt fantastic.
Unbelievable. I remember going back to school, I got a Blazers, a club blazer with a great big Hull City Tigers emblem on the...
Have you still got it?
No, we had a fire at the hotel and I lost all those belongings that I'd had from those days. But I went back to school. When I was injured, I drove back to school. So I'll go back and see some of the masters. 2 masters in particular, Mr. Tasker, a sports master, smashing bloke, Michael Tunn, Mickey Tunn, another cracking teacher, awesome teachers. So I thought I'll nip back and say hello to them. And I turned up into the school car park. I had a little MG midget, a little blue MG midget, wire wheels, beautiful car. And I went back to school and I walked into the foyer and there was a teacher called Mr. Hunter. He was our English teacher, an Oxbridge guy. And the week before I left school, Mr. Hunter was going round everybody in the class. It was a Friday afternoon and he was going round the class and he'd said, right, you leave school next week, what are you going to do? And you think young kids like that, we haven't a clue what we're going to do. Nobody give you advice.
Yeah.
The girls are saying, I'm going to Jackson the Tailors, right? I'm going to the bakers, and the lads, I'm going down the pits, I'm going down the shipyards. And so I said to my mate, what are you going to say, Stuart? And Stuart says, I'm just going to tell him I'm going to be a bricklayer. I said, right, I'm not having that. So he come to me Peterson. What do you want to do, Peterson? And I said, footballer, sir. Lad. He said, every lad in here wants to be a footballer, man. Get real. Come on. He said, go on, right, next. And he just dismissed it. So on the way out of the class, I said to him, Mr. Hunter, I'm serious. When I say I want to be a footballer, I am serious about it, sir. And I will do it. Yes, of course you will, son. Of course you will. Good lad, good lad. And that was it. So here we are now, a year later. I come back and I walk in, and he clocks me. And he's big, tall guy, 6'3", very thin. He's, Peterson, well done, son. Knew you'd always do it. And just walked off. Of course you did, Mr. Hunter. Of course you did.
And that felt good as well.
Yeah. No, it was just nice. And I caught up with the teachers, which was lovely.
Yeah.
It was lovely to catch up with sports teacher in particular.
Oh, and going back to Brian Clough, what do you think was that made his presence kind of so immense?
How do you describe presence? It's a difficult one. I mean, it says somebody's got it. You don't know what it's like until you actually experience it.
Yeah.
It's the first time I experienced it.
Is it the only time?
No. When I was at Hull, George Best came in to train with the team. So Terry Neal was the player manager for Northern Ireland and was trying to get George back into train to qualify for the World Cup in 74 in Germany. And he convinced George to come to the club to train. And it was nearly identical situation. Terry Neal walked in and said, I've got a guest. He's got a lovely Irish brogue, soft accent. I've got a guest coming in to stay with us for a few days. I want to give a nice big Hull City welcome. He opened the door and George Best walked in, and it was, the atmosphere was just, whoa, what do you do? And we're standing there, absolutely amazing, gorgeous. I mean, he was just unbelievable and a hero. And that was the other one. But with Brian Clough, it was like a difference. It was a respect and not fear. It was just, this man's got, he'll tell you what to do. He's going to guide you. He's going to lead us. I was just there for a trial. And it went silent. That was the other thing.
Okay.
They're all chattering. All these senior players, internationals, all the first team were international players. And the door opened, it went silent. Nobody spoke.
Yeah.
And it was just like that, command the room. And it was like, I'm 17. I'm 16 years old. I remember coming away, I got a beautiful bag, Adidas sports bag, a pair of Adidas football boots, which then were £5, which is nearly like a week's wage.
Wow, yeah.
You could only buy them in a certain shop in Sunderland called Joseph's. Beautiful soft leather. And I had a pair of these going to school to play in the school match with a bag and an Adidas. And people saying it's been down to Derby County. It just felt amazing. I played for Sunderland boys, and I had great players in the team, and a fantastic group of lads. And I want to play for Sunderland. That's my hometown.
Yeah.
I wanted to play for Sunderland. I couldn't understand why nothing was happening.
Yeah, strange.
And that, it just wasn't. I don't know why, but I think with Derby County can ask questions. Why is Sunderland asking questions? So I live here and they see me and I play. So never got the bottom of that one, but it was to. I loved the time at Hull. Wasn't great with the injury.
Yeah, tell us more about that injury.
I'd only been there 3 months. I was just getting really, really sort of professional fit. I was proud of myself on being sort of fit and ready to play.
Yeah.
But when you train for 3 or 4 hours a day, you just start, and you're that age, and your testosterone's going, you just grow. And I just got a freak injury. It was, again in a match. Sunderland were playing Hull that day, so my dad was down to see the game. I had a lot of relations come down. I got a load of tickets for all my friends. And they decided to give me a run out. I hadn't played for the reserves that week, so I was coming back from injury. I'd injured a pelvis. And I had just a freak injury, which knocked my knee inwards, which snapped the medial ligament, which is the ligament on the inside of the knee. But my leg was trapped, and the other player hit me, and I spun round 180 degrees, and that spun the knee socket and snapped both cruciate ligaments.
Ouch.
And my leg was at a weird angle, and I knew it was bad. I didn't know just exactly what had happened. So, got took to I remember, being stretchered back to the club and coming out of the ambulance at about 2:30 to go back into the club to see the club doctor who was going to examine the knee. And as I was coming out, they were carrying me out on a stretcher. I'm lying flat, on my back, looking up. And I just see all these faces looking down. And there's my mates, and there's people that I've seen nearby where I live, and others looking at me, and I'm being carried in on a stretcher. I had an operation shortly, the next, I think it was the next day, on the Monday. I had the operation on the Monday. I had 5 operations later. The knee was unstable. It just, today this is a horrific injury. 1973, there's not the technology around that there is today.
Personal isn't just about business. It's about the human stories behind them. We address all aspects of health, from cancer, gastric bands and meningitis to mental health and the menopause. Nothing is off limits on this show. But as these stories often highlight, you can't take your health for granted. I know I don't, and that's why I trust WPA to protect my health. WPA isn't like any other health insurer. It's not for profit and offers award-winning, tailored health insurance solutions to individuals, families, and businesses of all sizes. Among UK health insurers, it consistently tops consumer surveys and Trustpilot ratings, while its members can manage their membership from pre-authorising claims to accessing remote GP services, all on the WPA Health app. Crucially, they help ensure the access to the very best treatment at a time and place that is convenient to you. I speak with Martin Nichols, one of the 90+ dedicated WPA healthcare partners across Britain, who provides advice and ongoing support during your journey with WPA. Contact Martin anytime on 07870 513 653 to discuss your requirements. Martin Nichols, appointed representative of WPA Healthcare Practice plc, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. The healthcare practice is a wholly owned subsidiary of Western Provident Association Limited, WPA. Do you still suffer with injury?
Yes, I've got, so the knee, my right knee, the positive thing that came out of it was the doctor, I remember saying at the end, he says, look, we're going to have to retire you. You will never be called up for the army because it's classed as a disability.
Okay.
And I remember being a little bit surprised at that because actually I thought if I didn't do sport, I'd probably look at the forces, probably the army anyhow. I talked to Dad about it. So yes, it does. I've learned to live with it. It's unstable, but I've learned to live with it. But I know, in certain weather, it can be pretty, not angry, but yeah, it's there. It's actually just something I've got. It's my knee that does this. It's almost like another part of me. Every time I'd be out in Sunderland, when I came back, the first thing people would say was, all right, Norm, how are you doing? That was the knee, by the way. And it's almost like the knee was its own thing. And I decided, look, I'm going to leave Sunderland. I don't want to be, people keep questioning me about that. I want to move somewhere else where nobody knows me and they don't know what I've done. I'm just going to get on with a different life. So,
yeah, I can understand that.
I decided to move.
Yeah, and you got involved in the family pub business as well.
Well, we bought, Mum and Dad took on a pub in Sedgefield in 73, Friday the 13th, 1973. And that was 3 weeks before I actually went to Hull.
Okay.
So when I came back, I felt I failed. I was devastated. Darkness, what you call it. You might term it sad. Yeah, it was dark. And couldn't understand. Not only couldn't play football, I couldn't play sport. I couldn't twist turn. I was a decent sprinter. I could play squash, badminton, all sorts of things. I just couldn't do it because my knee wouldn't stand up to it. So I was affected across the board. And I remember lying on the bed. I'd come back, flattened, and I was lying on the bed, and I just felt clammy. I was about, 6 o'clock at night, lying there thinking, what the hell am I going to do? I haven't thought of anything else, and now I can't be what I wanted to be. How do you learn? I've never really, at school, I was a good person, a good lad, but never put myself out into learning because that just put my efforts into what I wanted to be, didn't see the point. And so I remember thinking, how do you learn? And I remember just feeling all hot and clammy lying in there. And anyhow, Mum came in and said, right, son, get yourself downstairs behind the bar. I'm going to show you how to pull a pint. And I thought, well, what's easy? It's easy to pull a pint. Well, it's just not to do it. Anybody can pull a pint. Very few people can pull a pint properly.
Okay.
To get a right head on it, the right consistency,
Yeah.
not to put your fingers anywhere near the top of the glass, not to hold the top in case you've got perfume or contaminants, the taste, all of that. Make sure the glass is this, it's that and the other. There's a lot of points to it, doing it right. And then you've got the eye contact to make with the person that you're serving.
Ah, interesting.
You've got to be able to let them know that you're dealing with them and everything else, and you've got to be able to control that bar. Because if you want to cause a problem in a bar, and there's a load of people who want serving, stand there and say, right, who's next? And you cause World War III. His mum says you've got to be able to look at everybody when they come in. If you're serving somebody, when they walk through that door, you look at them, give them a nod, let them know you've seen them.
Yeah.
If you know what get to know what he drinks. If he drinks a pint, you see him, give him a nod, pint. Yep. You've got to be doing all of this as well as serving a pint properly. And so you start to think, actually, there's a bit more technique to it. And I worked behind that bar, and what that did was brilliant, because you've got to deal with all sorts of people, talk to all sorts of people. Some people you get to meet, they've got fascinating backgrounds, but you wouldn't think it. And you just see all of these things that you get to see in a bar. And the only added difference to the bar is once people have had 2 or 3 drinks, they open up and they become a bit more relaxed. And so I loved it. I loved working behind the bar. But we did that for years until Mum and Dad finally sold the Black Lion. They had 3 pubs: Nag's Head first, and then the Black Lion right in the city, right in the village centre, and then which they sold to Bass in 1980, and then they come back and they took the Hardwick Arms on, bought the Hardwick Arms 88, and then sold that 89 to a hotel group.
Okay.
So we've got a bit of a background going back and forth to Sedgefield. Mum and Dad loved the place. I liked living there when I first moved back, and it's just a great business if you like people. It's a lot of pubs I've gone into where you've got people running them who actually don't like people.
Yes, you can tell.
And this is a public business. The pub thrives on a good landlord and landlady.
Yes.
Mum and Dad knew how to do that. My mum, very, very gregarious, can get on with people, connect and everything. Dad, smashing bloke, level, knows what he's doing. And I remember saying to Dad, we lived in Sunderland. Dad served his time down the pit as electrician, and his background is an electrician. And he took the pub on, and we turned up. And as we turned up and pulled outside to unload the lorry, and I looked through the window, he was there, saw him behind the bar, and he could give me a wave. And then that night I talked to him and I said, Dad, how do you know what to do? You think about it, he's an electrician. And the next minute, he's behind the bar. But he's not behind the bar just serving. He's got the place. He's got to run it and manage it and think about it and all of the buying and pricing, everything else. And I said, Dad, how do you know what to do? How do you know how to run it? He just said, well, it's really easy, son. And he said, basically, what we've got to do is we've got to create a really nice, friendly place. So it's got to be clean, tidy, comfortable, And then when somebody comes in, we've got to give them a lovely welcome. We've got to make them feel we want them here. We've got to get to know their name, what they call their wives, what they drink, as you've got sons and daughters, and we've got to get to find out, know the people. And the third one is, and this is not the most important, the third one is you've got to keep the beer right. By keeping the beer right, you've got to clean the pipes. So the pipes have to be, so when that beer comes out, it's not cloudy, it's got a nice head on it, and it looks good. And he said, and if you do those 3 things, you'll have a successful pub. He said, but the most important one of those 3 is the landlady and the landlord. You can have a great pub with great beer, and if you've got a landlady and landlord that don't like people, they'll kill it. But a good landlady and a good landlord can make a nice pub with average beer and still fill the place.
Yeah.
And I remember one day standing in the bar on one Saturday, one weekend, and this lad was talking to me. He says, it was one of the local lads from one of the, maybe it's Trimden, and he said, that was Mum and Dad, clever people. And I said, right. I said, oh, and then what do you mean? He said, well, they make us drink beer that we don't like. And I said, well, I thought the beer's, it's not as nice as Scotch in Newcastle, though. He says, but your Mum and Dad make us drink it. And I said, well, they don't. He said, no, he said, because we like them that much. And that's just a really simple context.
Totally.
But it is. But how many times do you go in a pub where people just don't even can't be bothered to serve you. I don't even want you there.
Oh, more and more so these days.
Never mind get the basics right of how to pull a pint properly and everything else.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd like to think we still deliver really high quality PR services, but one of our values is relationships first, PR second, because we have to know the person. We have to have that rapport with them to get to know them to deliver good PR in the first place. I think relationships come first, no matter what industry you're in.
Definitely. You can't do business or anything without building relationships.
Yeah.
Stories are at the heart of the Personal podcast, and we're so grateful for everyone who comes on and shares them. Stories are also at the heart of a strong PR campaign. And at Harvey and Hugo, we believe that everyone's story deserves a chance to be heard. That's why we're on a mission to give you a voice amplified through the power of story. Our stories are shared in the form of press releases, social media, content marketing, videography, photography, animation, graphic design, and podcasting. Our stories aren't just heard, they're shared, watched, clicked, but most importantly, they are felt. It's this stirring of emotions that cuts through the noise to light fires within people and activate them towards your purpose. So one question for you. Are you ready to share your story? Harvey and Hugo, your voice amplified.
And then you bought a restaurant and turned it into a hotel. And this was all in your 20s as well.
So I'd been overseas now for about 6 years.
Okay.
Loved it. Single, not a care in the world, traveling all over the place. Just having to think about myself and do a good job, enjoy what I do, and just see the world. That was it. No more bigger plan than that. And the oil price collapsed in the Middle East, and I went back to work. I was in the south of France. I used to get 2 weeks holiday, 13 weeks, work 11, 2 weeks off.
Oh, wow.
And on the 2 weeks off, all my flights were paid to come back home, and I never came home. I would fly to the south of France, Nice airport, hire a car, drive to San Rafael, spend 2 weeks in San Rafael, phone mum and dad up, tell them everything's good, fighting fit, don't worry about a thing, and I will see you when I see you. And that's what I did, and that was life. And so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the south of France, decided I wanted to live there, enjoyed working in the Middle East, the heat and everything else, tax-free income and everything else. And this is before the Middle East is like it is today. You know, Doha, Qatar, when I worked there, was a hotel and a few shops. There was nothing like it is today.
It's dangerous?
No, Doha wasn't. But the first place I went to, which is Iran, had the Shah in power when I first started to work there. I got caught up in the revolution that broke out in... started sort of October time. We went under martial law back end of October. That means that we're under curfew from dusk till dawn. We had to stay inside, and then it got really bad. The troubles were coming down to where we were. I lived right in the bottom of Iran in Awaz, which is the oil fields, the desert where the oil fields are. We were drilling for oil. And the boss said, look, you've got to stay in now. We can't go out. It's too dangerous. People are getting attacked. So we stayed in, and that was until New Year's Day morning when we woke up to find what seemed hundreds of planes going round and round the airport in a stack and dropping down and taking off. And boss came, sent somebody around and said, look, meet at the mess. I went to the mess, and he said, all right, let's count everybody. 1, 2, 3, right, 13 of us. Right, we're all here. Right, we're leaving now. Passports are here. Get into the Land Rovers outside, and we're going straight to the airport. We've been escorted by this guy we brought over from an ex-SAS soldier to protect us, security company. And we said, okay, we'll just rush back home. I had a pair of flip-flops on, shorts, and a T-shirt. Yeah. I said, I'll just get back and go and get my gaze. No. We're leaving now. You walk out that door and you turn left to go off home. You're on your own. Make your own way back home. You get straight into that car, in that Land Rover. We're in there and we're off now, as you are. That's it. And so it was surreal because I had all these things in the house. I couldn't leave. But then I was standing there with a flip-flops, shorts and T-shirt. And we got airlifted out that day. We flew to Abadan and into Bahrain, one night in Bahrain, and the next day flew to Athens, where we spent 6 weeks before our contracts were terminated because Ayatollah Khomeini came back and the place went into chaos.
Right.
And it said just too dangerous to go back. So I decided that I was enjoying it. I had a place to go to London Imperial to read petroleum engineering. And I thought I'll just do another year in the Middle East, tax-free. I'll have a lump sum, go to London, so I've got some cash to, load it up while I'm there, as well as being a student. Yeah. So 1 year turned to 2 to 3, and the next thing I'm 6 years in. Came back and stayed with a friend in Leeds. Said, come and stay with me. Good mate from my school days, played football together. And I overstayed my stay. I stayed 4 weeks. Went up for the weekend, stayed 4 weeks, had a brilliant time. Decided as a make-up apology, I would take him and his girlfriend, who's another girl from Sunderland, lovely lass, for dinner, anywhere you want. And they said, we'll go to this place. And we went to it. It's called the Bridge in Walshford, just outside of Wetherby. Lovely dinner, lovely evening. Got the taxi home that night, and I went back the next day to get the car. I left in the car park. And I got the car, and I was just getting the car, and I looked, and I just sort of looked at the place, A1 there, and I thought, this will make a great hotel. And I don't know what the hell come over me. I walked in, and I saw the cocktail barman at the time. And I said to Paco, I said, was he here last night? Yeah, say, a Spanish guy. Yeah, very professional. Yeah, I remember you had a very nice night. We did indeed. I said, is the owner in? Just assuming, they would live there. And he said, no, the owner's not here, but the general manager is. So they brought this guy over, Mr. Caulfield, and he said, how can I help you? It was like 10 in the morning, something, how can I help you? I said, I had a lovely evening here last night, and I said, I'd like to buy the place. And he just looked. And he said, right. I said, so who do I need to speak to? I mean, it's just like, you look back, it's just youthful exuberance. I know I was 28, 29 coming. It was just, don't think about it too much, just do it type of attitude.
Because you have no experience.
No experience in it. So I just said, I'd like to buy it. And he said, right, okay. He said, well, let me just make a call. So he goes out, makes a call. He says, right, I've spoken to the owner, and he'll meet you here at 5 o'clock tonight. I had no clue who owned the place. But it turned up he's one of the most wealthiest men in Yorkshire. Owns one of the biggest bedding companies in Europe, based in Huddersfield. And the bridge was really his wife's thing. Mm-hmm. Beautiful place. I just fell in love with it. I had 3 years there. I absolutely loved it. So so he's asking me, so who do you work for? Me? I don't. So no, but who do you represent? I said, just me. Yeah. And it was like you could see he just wasn't not what he expected, and it wasn't what I expected. I expect someone to come along and say, right, it's this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I said, so look, I'd just like to buy it. Tell me what the price is. And it's all right. It's 355. So 355,000, 1983. Yeah. And so I just didn't blink. I remember thinking, I've got 70,000 in the bank. And I just went to the bank the next day. Yeah. I drove up to Sunderland, Midland Bank, spoke to the bank manager, and said, I've got this, I want to buy that, how much can I get? And he said, we can give you about 100 and something. And I said, well, it won't be enough. And I just phoned Dad up. I said, Dad, Mum and Dad were living in Windsor at the time, Mum, Dad and Craig, living in Windsor. And that was the Thursday. And I said, Dad, I found a project. I said, it's on the A1. I said, it's the bridge in Walshford. I said, and he said, the place with the flags outside. I said, that's it. Oh, son. He said, I'll be up tomorrow. And he drove up the next day. Mum, Dad and Craig, they drive up, parks the car in a car park, gets out, looks around, right, son, yep, let's get it bought. We didn't look at numbers. What is it? But you could see something that could be 3.5 acres, right on the A1, could be a beautiful hotel. Wow. And that's it. We ended up, so Dad came, me, Dad came in, family, we got stuck in and took it over. And I absolutely loved the place. When you say find something you love doing, yes. Oh dear. And after the football, this was up there with it. Okay. I mean, it was just, the food, it was just a gorgeous place inside, and I love food and wine, and I ended up in the kitchen. I ended up running the kitchen.
Wow.
Well, running a place like that, we had 33 living staff. So it's in the middle of, well, it's 7 miles from Wetherby, so it's not really much around you.
Yeah.
And the staff come from all over, and we have 33 live-in staff. You imagine, like it's like having a family of 33. Yeah.
It must have been hard work running a hotel, though.
It's non-stop, but
Yeah.
I loved doing it, and so it didn't. You know,
didn't feel like
times you
work.
get a bit tired, but it wasn't. I had the vision of seeing this lovely hotel being built, a relay chateau type
Yes.
standard hotel. I used to go to the Basil Street Hotel in London and meet the owner there, and said, "Could we do a reciprocal arrangement where I'll send you people coming to London and you come up here?" And I'd all that, just loving them.
All came naturally.
And then I ended up in the kitchen by default, and found that, actually I could create food, do the food side as well. I just loved it, and we ended up getting an offer, which we got planning. Once the planning came through, we had all sorts of interest. We got an offer that was just, too good to refuse. Sometimes things do have a price.
Yes, absolutely.
And Bass Holdings, Bass bought it.
Is it still there today?
Yeah.
Do you ever visit it?
I was in there a few years ago.
Bring back good memories.
It does. It's not the same place now because the A1's been moved about a mile away.
Okay.
So it's a different type of place. We had it as it was one of 2 restaurants in Yorkshire that were up there. Yeah, and further north you had the McCoys, who were just fabulous restaurateurs. We had that down there. I'm not saying we were anything like the McCoys, but we were good. But it was a different type of a place. We had a grill room that sat open 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, that seated 70. We had a bar, 2 function suites, and a restaurant to die for, and a cocktail bar. And so there was a lot of things to operate and do.
Absolutely. And I bet as a hotel owner, you get lots of amazing stories. Do you have a favourite you could share with us?
I've got a few, actually. So when we first started, I was out in the front of the house. So I used to, dressed up at night, a lovely suit on. I bought his beautiful suit when I came back from Harrods, double-breasted. I've still got it today. And the lads have tried it on, but it's a bit tight. Even for them, it's a bit tight. But anyhow, I'd be there, and I used to love to do the front of the house. So taking the orders, doing the wine. Paco, who'd been with the place for about 30 years, this Spaniard chap who was the cocktail barman, unbelievable professional, one of the best I've seen. Paco would do the drink side, I'd take the orders, and then I would lead them into the restaurant, and we had a maitre d' in the restaurant, Philippe, French guy, Felipe, and Felipe would look after them in there, and I would sort of move in between the two to make sure that the tables were getting moved and the next tables that were ready to come in, and you sort of keep that thing going. And I was in the restaurant, and Paco come in. He was a bit white. Mr. Norman, we have a problem, Mr. Norman. I said, sorry, okay. It's like Saturday night. We're on full steam. We've got about 90 covers, and we're in the first wave of covers. We're flat out.
Okay.
And he comes, Mr. He said, we have a problem. I said, what? And he says, Mr. Gifford is on table 8 with his girlfriend. He said, and Mrs. Gifford has arrived in the cocktail bar with 3 friends. All right. He said, we can't bring her in. We don't want to see her. I said, all right. I said, well, okay, let me just, you look after that outside and make sure everybody stays there. And I'll just sort this part out here. And I just went over and said, excuse me, Mr. Gifford. Have you got, I mean, this is a long time ago, so Mr. Gifford's not around now. And Mr. Gifford, have you got a second? Just a quick word with you. And so took him into the garden lounge, said, look, your wife's arrived with a reservation in a friend's name. We'll see. Oh my God, right. I said, so we need to manage the situation. You don't want to put a scene or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he had to take him out by the side door, out the back, and then we could then bring the next table through, and we just manoeuvred it out and just sort of got over that. And I remember Paco was really concerned in case there was a scene of something like that. The other one was when I was in the kitchen. You do the prep in between. When you were closed after lunch service to dinner service, you did the mise en place, the prep and the like. And then I used to always nip up to the reservation book at about 6 o'clock to see how many were in, how many reservations. Yeah. Do I know any of the names? Are they regulars? And I looked at this and I opened it, and it was Egon Ronay. table for one. I don't know if you know who Egon Ronay
I
is.
don't.
Right, Egon Ronay is a guy. So you've had the Michelin stars.
Yes.
So you had Michelin stars, the Michelin guidebook, or Guide Michelin, and then you had the Egon Ronay restaurant book, and he used to go around restaurants and give you stars, or give you rosettes.
Oh, yes.
And so he was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Egon Ronay could finish you off if he gave you a bad review. So it was that sort of thing.
Right.
So it was Egon Ronay, table for one.
Oh, no.
And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, I mean, he's come tonight, so right, panic, not so much panic, but right, I want everybody tiptoe, make sure the service is right and this is right. I then went over to the reservations and I said, do we know who took the reservation? Oh, it was so-and-so, she's not here now. I said, there's definitely Egon Ronay, definitely. Yes, Egon Ronay. Oh, God, right, okay, no pressure. So we do the evening and it's a successful evening, no issues. And so I go out when it's all finished. I have a look, and he's sitting there. He's a sort of 60s, sort of Europeanish looking, tanned. So just exactly what you'd expect Egon Ronay to look like. And I smiled and walked on. And then the next day, I looked at the next day. I had a look at any comments in the book, and there was nothing. So he didn't say anything on the way out. So I go into the accounts side, and the accounts team are doing all the payments for the night before, credit cards, Amex and things like that. And she said to me, I said, we had Egon Ronay in last night. And I said, amazing. I said, he really enjoyed it. It was a fantastic. She said, no. She said, we had a man called Mr. Arigone, spelled A. I said, how do you spell it? It was Aririgonay. Arigone. I said, bloody hell. I said, we've worked our backsides off last night thinking it was Egon Ronay, and it was just some random Italian who'd been recommended to have a dinner with us. And he enjoyed it, but that was something that the staff never forgot, because they were all on panic footing.
Oh, brilliant. I'm changing the subject now. How did you meet your wife?
Again, this friend of mine who invited me to Leeds in the first place, which is how I come to be in Yorkshire, we'd sold the bridge, and he got in touch and said, right, let's meet tomorrow night in Leeds. I'll meet you at the Waterhole, which is a wine bar in the legal area. I'll meet you at the Waterhole at 6 o'clock. So brilliant. So I'm down there on time. I'm the only one in the place. I'm sitting in the bar, and it's about 6:15. There's no sign of him. So I'm thinking, do I go around now, try and find him, or should I give him another 15 minutes? So I'm sitting there, and these three young ladies walk in. Probably, I knew one of them, so I thought, in the 20s. And I saw them, and the one that knew me gave me a wave, and she'd come across. And she used to do our picture framing when we had the bridge in. I'd buy maps or buy art, and she would frame it for us and was going the bridge. So I knew her known her for a year. So I said something along the lines of, I noticed one of them in particular, she had this blonde haircut, straight blonde, really stunning eyes, and she looked gorgeous. So I said, who's your mate? And she said, oh, yeah, it's just a couple of friends. We're just having a glass of wine before we go to the Flying Pizza tonight for a pizza. And I said the Flying Pizza was the place to be in Leeds. And I said, oh, great. I said, well, we might catch you up there later on, because, I'm meeting a mate. I'm supposed to be here now, and we'll probably catch you later. So we did. I found Barry. He was somewhere else, and we went to the Flying Pizza, and we got in. And as it would happen, we got sat on the table right next to them, but they were coming to the end of their main course when we got sat down. And we got talking, and it happened that the one I liked, though I thought was quite stunning, happened to be sitting next to me, which is handy. And we just got on well. And that was it. And I did say something. I didn't ask for a phone number, because I didn't have a mobile phone then. They were just coming out.
Okay.
I didn't have a mobile. And I was in between moves. We'd sold the bridge. Mum and Dad had a caravan up in Barnard Castle, which they'd holidayed there for years, since I was a kid. And they were staying up there. So I didn't even have a landline, because I was going to do a job in London. And so I couldn't give her a number. And I didn't ask for it. But we had I sensed there was a bit of a spark going off here. Okay. So, but anyhow, didn't want to push too hard or anything. So the next day I thought I'll go down to this friend's gallery and I'll have a chat with her and get a number. Because she was from the same village where we now live now, Bramham. And I asked her, I said, have you got your friend's number? And she said, well, why do you want it? I said, well, I'm going to give her a call and see if she'd like to go out for dinner. And something. Well, she won't be interested. She's getting married in 6 weeks' time. I said, well, she never mentioned that last night. Or didn't allude to anything like that last night. Oh, yeah, she's getting married in 6 weeks' time. She probably just wanted a bit of a fling with a bit of rough before she got settled down. So I thought, that's an interesting put down. So I left it. And the next day, I was actually, I was going off to Spain. I was going off to Spain for 2 weeks for a bit of a holiday and some golf. And I told Jane that. And so that was it. Forgot all about it. So I don't want to interfere with somebody who's about to get married. That's the last thing I want to do. So that was it. Didn't do anything about it. And then a year later, this same friend said to me, what are you doing tomorrow? It was a Friday. What are you doing tomorrow, Saturday? Nothing planned. They said, it's the opening day of the flat racing season at Doncaster. Let's go down. And I said, all right, I'll come down. And we did. He said, I'm going to be working. So he said, I'm going to try and keep it sensible. It was anything but. It was a 2-wheel day out with him. And come to leave, and I said, right, come on, I'll get you home. I'm going to drive back up to the northeast. And it's, no, come on, let's go out for a pizza. I said, no, it's a bit late. No, come on. So parked up, walked into the Flying Pizza about 7:30 Saturday night. And there's 2 lovely girls standing at the bar, and one of them was the one that I'd met a year earlier with a face like a fiend. So I looked at her and I said, smile, hello, went over. I said, and she was not happy. And I said, do I owe you an apology or something? She said, well, yes, you do, because you said you would contact me. And I said, well, I didn't. I said, but you didn't tell me you were getting married. And she says, I wasn't getting married. She said, I've never been getting married. I said, well, that's what your friend told me. She said, So that was it. And a year later, we got married. And next Monday, we're celebrating 35 years.
Oh, my goodness. That's
two lovely boys.
Yeah.
Lovely family. And we've been married 35 years.
And it was clearly meant to be, despite that
definitely,
lady trying to interrupt.
And she went, actually, what Jane told me, she says, I knew that she would do something to put you off because she had designs on you. She's always said that. And I said, well, I didn't know that. And she said, I even tried to get hold of you at the airport. She said, I phoned Manchester Airport. I asked them to put an announcement out for Norman Peterson to phone Jane Rhodes on this number. And I said, what, you went to all that effort? She said, I did. Wow. So I said, well, we better sort this out.
Wow.
So yeah, we've been married 35 years next week.
Oh, I love a good love story. What's your secret to a happy marriage?
Put yourself second. You're there. You might want something, but, make sure that when you first get married, it's your wife. And then when your family arrive, it's your wife and the boys. And in my case, it's the boys. But, make sure that they're looked after and right. And that's it. It's not hard. It's not hard.
It's not hard, but not many people manage to do that.
We talk about all sorts of things. I can sit and talk to her just non-stop. So it's just there. We never argue. I mean, people say rubbish. I've never done a crossword in 35 years. It's fact. I'll do small things which are not expensive. They're not expensive to do. For example, every morning I get a breakfast in bed. That's it. How hard is that?
Yeah. 2
cups of tea, a favourite breakfast. When I come home, I have a beautiful meal prepared for me. The least I can do is do something as basic as simple as breakfast in bed. I'll do it. That's it. And it's not an issue.
Yeah.
And I think little things like that, as well as the important things. This was a birthday the other week, and I mean, sure, I got a nice pressie and things, but it's that the main thing for the two of us is the boys.
Yeah.
And we have a Jack Russell as well, who was a big character in the family. But it's the boys, mate. Everything we do is for make sure that we can do the best we can to make sure that whatever we've done is there for the thereafter the best you can. And that's it. And we get on great. I get on with her mum and dad. Her mother's still alive, tremendous woman. Get on great with her. and I got on fabulous with her dad. And you know, that's it. You might as well make it, you know, do the best. And I mean, we are still in love.
Oh, I love that. That's so lovely.
35 years.
I love it. Brilliant. And how do you manage work-life balance? Because you're busy, you run a lot of companies.
With difficulty.
Okay.
That's probably the only thing that I would get 1 out of 10 for with Jane. I try to work from home 2 days a week,
right,
which is great. It's after COVID when you then realise you don't need to be in the office every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and do 2 days a week from home.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes things have to be done at a weekend, and then just get on with it. But we're trying. Jane would like me to take more time off. I know that, and I try and work to make sure that I do as much as I can to pull my weight with what Craig's doing. He's doing an amazing job. So we have to make sure that I can't be slacking and letting him.
Yeah. And Craig's your younger brother.
He is. The 14-year difference. So it's not, so with that, it's like you weren't brothers growing up scrapping over toys and my toy and this and the other. That age gap meant that by the time I got to 18 and he was sort of 4, that, I'm keeping an eye out for him and as well as mum and dad are, but I also keeping an eye and interest in how he's doing and stuff like that, as opposed to, fighting over who's got the biggest meal or who wants this toy. So as we've grown up, that's sort of changed. We went into business together 25 years ago. Craig's idea. So we did that, and it's been great, brilliant. We've got complementary skills. I see him. I speak to him every day. I see him most days, 4 days of the week.
Do you see him outside of work as well?
Yeah. Well, if we just a pint or a dinner and stuff.
That's really nice.
We had, when the boys were back at Christmas, we all went up to Craig's house, spent the full day up there. Lovely. Something to eat. His girls were home, so all round there, games, cards out, still various things, and just So it's when you've got a number of business interests, like we have, it brings with it different challenges from different things. And if you're in business, there's always something going to come at you that you're not expecting. Mm-hmm. If you have a job and you're working somewhere, you don't like it, you can leave that job. But if you're in business, you can be doing things, you don't know what's coming at you, and somebody can decide to throw legal action against you for no good reason, or somebody can cause you trouble that you've got to deal with legally. And it's just, that comes with the territory.
Yeah.
We just take it that, we have it can get a bit sticky, but you just have to, I try and make light of it. We have a laugh about it. I keep saying to Craig, it could be worse. We could be getting bombed every minute of the day, or we could be this, or we could be working down a coal mine for 70 years. Look, there's a lot of good stuff that we do. It just tends that when you've got other things going on, anything that's not working to the plan, they can overtake the good things that you're doing.
Totally.
And you forget the real achievements, like, we've built so many homes now, and should have marked that one when we got to 150, and we've just sold this for that. We should have done something about that, but we just get on with it.
Yeah.
So it's good. It makes a really varied day. And he's got a bloody head like a planet. He's so bloody clever.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, definitely.
And he's great. He's great to work with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
brilliant. And on that subject of sometimes it's easy to remember the negative things that are happening. What would you say, out of everything you've achieved in your life, what are you most proud of?
Oh, family and 2 boys. Mm-hmm. I mean, you say, oh yes, I bought one of these, I own that. No, it's nothing. They absolutely pale into insignificance. When I watch the boys growing up, brilliant value.
Yeah.
Both of them. Hugo playing sport, Luca then achieving sport, Hugo playing rugby for England, bowling for Sussex, Yorkshire. Somebody told me when I was, after the injury, at 18, 19, that there we are, Norm, this is your life. When you get to this age, coming up 70, this is what you've done. Will you take it? Bloody right. I've achieved more I ever dreamed of.
Oh, it's so lovely. Do you want to achieve more?
No. There's nothing. No, I've got no burning. What I like doing is enjoyed the work we do and seeing the young people that work with us development come on. That's great. Have anything that I need to do? And no, I've built a beautiful home. the boys, good fettle, as long as they're in good fettle.
Yeah.
That's it. And I don't want for anything. So that's it. Life's brilliant.
That's lovely to hear. And do you plan on retiring?
At some point, yes, definitely. There's probably be an optimum time to do that. And Craig always jokes on that. Every time I come to, get to 65, he puts the retirement age up to 70, and then I come up to 70, he's put up to 87 now. So we just have a laugh about it. But there will come a time when, that's right. As I say, enjoy what I do. I'm lucky. I've got great health.
Yeah.
And if you've got your health and a happy family, boom.
Absolutely. I totally agree. How do you define success?
Right at the top, happiness and peace of mind. Happiness, serenity, just not getting chewed or turning things over. Life's, we don't know how long we've got. We don't know when it's going to come to an end. You might as well just enjoy, make it and get on with it and enjoy what you've got, make the most of it. And try and find out, if you want to better it, go for that as well. Try, But as a young man, I was 20, I would have had different ideas. But as I said before, I remember when I went to the south of France for the first time on holiday with three of my mates from Sunderland. I drove all the way from Sunderland down to San Rafael. I remember having a conversation, one of the lads with Chrissy, and I was saying, Chrissy, some people, they live here. They were born here. This is their home. They've arrived on this planet and they've got all of this. And I said, we live in Sunderland. It's nothing wrong with Sunderland. I love I absolutely was a centre of my world, universe. I loved the place in the 70s. I had a brilliant time there. And I just said then, I want to live somewhere like this. But then as you grow, you get a bit older, a few more years, you get your mid-30s, and then you meet somebody, and then you go to the career route and the other things, and then you just, mellow down. I think the thing that really helps me now is that I try to look at things. I used to be when I was younger, 100 mile an hour, be a bit fiery.
Yeah.
Not now, control all that, but we have a laugh with Craig about that. But it's like when you get a bit older, it's just like you can start to just stand back and just don't get. People say things, they're just words. Just let them go. Just words. Yeah. Don't get too uptight. Don't worry about anything, because 99.9% of what you worry about never even happens. Why crucify yourself?
Yeah.
Just focus on things that are enjoyable and good, and friends and family. You might be lucky in life and meet somebody.
Brilliant advice. And how do you want to be remembered?
Well, first and foremost is the important was a good husband, good husband, and a great dad.
Yeah.
Good brother, somebody who can tell a good laugh with, tell a story. Good.
You certainly can do that.
A decent bloke to stand at the bar with and have a pint with.
Yeah.
I've got no ambitions to build this X, Y, Z and be something of this and the other. What's important is just what my friends and family think of me. Nothing else really matters after that.
Yeah, that's a lovely answer.
You've got people who achieve massive things in their lives, and you've got still people saying negative things about them. You look at all the people who've done absolutely amazing, whether it's sport, business, or anything else, and there's still a load of folk who want to say something else about them. Yeah, it's not important. What's important is what your mum and dad thought, what your family think.
Yeah, so true. I totally believe that. Well, we're now on to our regular questions.
Some tricky ones coming.
Oh, I know, yes. The easy part's done. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being worst, 10 being the best, you have to rate yourself at the following things, Norm. Okay, so number 1, how good looking are you?
So, quick story. Craig was at a Sunderland football match a few years ago, about 5 years back. And it was a Sunderland, I think it was Sunderland Hull City. John Hawley was there. John Hawley was ex-Hull City, one of the first guys I met at Hull. Played for Sunderland, Arsenal, Leeds. And Craig went over to him, and John was hosting the day and in the corporate side. And Craig went over and he said, Hello, John. He said, I'm Craig Peterson. This is my brother was Norman Peterson. He was Hull City. And John, Norman, all right, good footballer, centre forward, good looking lad, blonde hair. All right. Right, so if John Hawley can say that,
Okay.
Who am I to disagree with him? Right?
Absolutely.
I'll take that.
So would John Hawley say maybe a 10?
Definitely.
Okay. Definitely. How funny are you?
I like to think I'm up there. They're higher, 8s and 9s. I think the boys like my banter, especially Luca. The staff at work, I think I've got a good sense of dry sense of humour. So I would rate myself up there with a 8 or 9. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you mentioned cooking already. So would you score high there?
11.
11. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, no, I think I love it. And Jane, she's brilliant as well. Jane bakes, and so together.
Oh, what a team.
Crack it off. But yeah, I mean, no, I'm being modest.
Are you good at singing?
I can have a go. Yeah. I can belt it out. I play guitar, and I can sing here. If you get me up on a karaoke, I'll blast out "Don't You Want Me, Baby" by the Human League. I can do a duo with a duet with Jane on it. No, I enjoy it. Yeah, I'll sing. In fact, when I've had a tough day on the way back, I'll have the music on full blast, and I'll just blast something out on the way down, just to get out the system before I get home.
Oh, definitely. I do the same. Music's so powerful in that way.
I listen every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So what score was that then for singing? What score?
A 7.
7. Okay. Alcohol. Do you drink much alcohol?
I enjoy it. I enjoy a pint now, and I enjoy some wine. Earlier, I would have been up there in the 9.5s as a young lad.
Yeah.
I've mellowed and still enjoy it, but I'm probably down in the mid-5s.
Okay. Parenting skills.
Well, I've got cards from the lads who say beautiful things about me. So
lovely.
I'm gonna go for a high 9 on that.
Absolutely. You said you still speak to them nearly every day, so I think that says a lot.
I've got cards they've sent me, which I keep as bookmarks.
Oh, lovely.
When you have a so-so day, you have a look at that and you're like, yeah, right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just a reminder.
Lovely.
So, yeah, I'd like to think so. That's going to be down to them to say otherwise.
Maybe when they listen, they can leave a comment if it's something different. How good a friend are you?
Again, I've got friends who have been lifetime friends. I see one of them regularly. Been mates since we were 13.
Lovely.
So out for lunch 4 or 5 times a year. Just sold a house to one of his daughters, which is nice. Amazing. She's put some lovely comments on Insta and Facebook last weekend. But so I hope that, well, I know I am, because I haven't let any of them down. If any of them come to me for help, I'll be there.
It's a sign of a good friend.
I expect them to.
Yeah.
I know they are, because they always say when my mum passed away.
Yeah.
Got some beautiful words.
Oh, that's important. How intelligent would you say you are?
Intelligence, there's intelligence in having a PhD, or there's like emotional intelligence, which is, being able to read the room and connect with folk. I think that I'm far better.
Yeah.
So score a 5. If you look at things like, well, I don't know. I ended up with an MBA and a master's in stuff, so I can't be that daft.
No, exactly.
I left school with a 25-yard breaststroke and a proficiency cycling test. It's a bit of a difference, but yes. So I can on the things like the maths and stuff like that, I learn it and I enjoy it now.
Yeah.
But I had to work at it. Whereas the other stuff, like the emotional side, I think I can be.
I think that gets you further in life.
Yeah, I think I can be quite in tune with people and read them and stuff like that. But a lot of that comes with age as well.
True,
experience.
True. Did you learn more at school or more pulling pints?
Pulling pints. I mean, at school, I was there physically, but my head was on the football pitch outside.
I think more people should, work in pubs, work in hospitality, work in the leisure industry as a young person, because you learn some invaluable skills.
You've got to learn to be able to talk to people, listen, connect with them, get the food there on time or get the drink on time, all these sort of things, and you stand out a mile if you do something well.
Yes.
I would think nothing at the bridge in Walshford if somebody was about to light, a woman was to get a cigarette or a man a cigarette out. I have a lovely lighter, and I'd get the lighter out. I'd light it for them. Didn't have to be asked.
Yes. Yeah.
And stuff like that, they notice. But it costs nothing.
But things like that seem to be dying out.
Definitely, I haven't seen it. Well, of course, the smoking ban.
Well, yeah, but other elements.
It's just
like that.
like taking the coats off.
Yes.
I see at the bridge in Walshford, a lovely couple walking in, and his wife with a beautiful fur coat on. When they make a fuss that, taking that coat off and make sure she knew that I was going to hang that properly and not just throw it on as something and this, that. Little things like that. And
How kind are you, Norm?
I believe I am. I think kindness is one of the foundations of humanity. It costs nothing.
Yeah.
When you think of the situation we're in these days, in this world that we live in,
I know.
I mean, what the hell is going on? Bit of kindness. Yeah, I try. I'm not saying I do it every day. I try to do a kind gesture. And a kind gesture can be, for me, as simple as I'm in the office, I'll make the tea for my two colleagues that work closely with me, Laura and Michelle. If they're sitting out, I won't ask them to make me a cup of tea. I'll will make the tea, and I will offer to do that. I'll bring a cake in that Jane's baked. She made, the team love it. I'll bring a cake in. I'll say some nice words. I'll make a point of saying something nice to somebody, some complimentary words.
Yeah.
If I see one of the team comes in looking beautiful, I'll tell her she looks great.
Yeah.
It's not anything more than that. I just say, look, you can see. So, and if the team members doing a good job, I make sure I let them know. I told one of the team members we created last week. Fantastic. So we let them know. So it doesn't cost anything to be kind. There's no like effort, money. Just do it. And that can be right out to when we're out walking on the day with Otto, saying a few kind words to folk, or neighbour, taking them some chutney that we made from Mary's. Yeah, there's little things like that.
And it might be a little thing, but it means so much to someone receiving that as well.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's very unbelievably important. If everybody woke up on the day and thought themselves, I'm going to do a kind gesture to somebody today, the world would be a better place than where we are at the minute.
I love that. Yeah, I think we should all embrace that. So a score for that one? A score?
Well, again, could always do better, so let's put it up in the 8.
Okay, still a high score. And finally, Norm, how good at sex are you?
Awesome.
Yes, okay, brilliant.
Again, well, I've been married 35 years and the fire burns bright, so there's,
Excellent.
But I think the kids today, there's too much pressure. There's all this thing on the internet and that. What I think they all need to come around to remember is that, your mum and dad have been there before, your grandparents were doing this years and years ago. It's not that difficult. You just got to make sure everybody's happy at the end of it. And if you get through that, it's generally a successful session. So that's it. Don't overthink it, man.
Yeah.
So, I think that's something that I would say you have to ask Jane, but she's not going to make any. She's not going to give away any trade secrets.
No problem. I won't ask Jane. So score?
Well, I'm going to do a modest 10.
Okay. Thanks so much, Norm. You've been amazing.